and to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work.
The basketball world was left stunned when legendary superstar Sue Bird suddenly flipped her opinion on Caitlin Clark, and what followed sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA.
Bird calls out ESPN host for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlin Clark's exit. You say what?
Yes, you heard that right. Sue Bird, once an outspoken supporter of Caitlin, took aim at Stephen A. Smith, boldly claiming the WNBA is thriving without her. Rumors swirl that Caitlin might be headed overseas to Europe, yet for now, she's quietly enjoying a rare, peaceful break. But Sue's insistence that the league's numbers are still strong feels like a claim begging to be challenged.
Has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring systems to the WNBA. This has been happening, and that I think is what's been such a shock for all of us.
It's as if Sue has reached her breaking point with defending Caitlin, because the moment she stepped away, the internet erupted. Social media is ablaze with frustrated fans demanding Caitlin's return, while others vow they won't watch another game until she's back. The tension is boiling over.
Viewership numbers with Caitlin Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw. She brings in all the things. And yes, the games where she's not playing have lower viewership. But in the WNBA playoffs are still breaking records from previous WNBA years.
And here's the truth. Without Caitlin, the WNBA is sinking back into reality with every passing game. Ratings are slipping, the buzz is fading, yet Sue still insists her absence will have no lasting impact. But the numbers tell a very different story.
To grow if it's certain people at the face, and there is still this undertone of jealousy that for some reason I cannot get around calling it anything else but that, because I don't know what else it could be. I thought it was going to get better this season, but it hasn't. There are still people who seemingly, to me, feel like they just don't want Caitlin to be a part.
Rachel hit a nerve with her observation, one that cuts deep. She believes the real problem is that WNBA legends don't truly want the sport to evolve, while Caitlin Clark is its face. To them, it's safer to rebuild from scratch than to confront the kind of fierce competition Clark brings to the table. The question is, why are they so afraid?
Problem, Sue Bird. I know that you gave her props and you acknowledged how phenomenal she was in terms of a draw. What Shannon Sharp and I were guilty of saying was that not enough folks were appreciating.
Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA. She rewrote its story the moment she arrived. But when she exited the playoffs, it felt like the league's heartbeat stopped. Now, whispers are spreading that trouble is brewing overseas in Europe, hinting at a shift that could shake the league's foundation. Sue Bird, a WNBA icon, had once been Clark's biggest cheerleader, calling her a game-changer who could transform women's basketball forever. Back then, Sue knew Clark wasn't just another rookie. She was a revolution in motion.
4 moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. I'm not finished. Attendance for the entire league is up nearly 50% this year, and Indiana leads all teams with an average attendance of 17,035, up 319% from a year.
Then, everything flipped. Sue Bird suddenly began downplaying Clark's impact, a twist that shocked fans who remembered her earlier praise. She brushed off the idea that Clark's absence was fueling the league's recent struggles, leaving supporters stunned and even angry. But one person refused to back down: Stephen A. Smith. Known for his fearless commentary, Smith declared that the postseason spark had been snuffed out without Clark, and he wasn't afraid to say it loudly. The fire was lit.
Just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 929,000 viewers. It was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever Sun contest. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was.
Smith went further, warning that the WNBA had lost its biggest attraction the moment Clark stepped off the court. He pointed to the plummeting viewership as proof and demanded that the league recognize her true value. This wasn't just an opinion, it was a challenge to the WNBA itself. But Sue Bird pushed back hard, publicly calling Smith wrong and insisting that playoff excitement didn't depend on a single player. The clash between two icons sent fans into a frenzy, splitting them into two camps, one siding with Smith's belief in Clark's unmatched influence, and the other holding firm to Bird's vision of a league bigger than any individual, no matter how powerful.
A lot of this noise came by people that were sitting on this network. They tried to minimize her, said, well, you giving her all this credit. What about the women that came before her? What the women came before her, what they did cannot be taken away. That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. But there was a lot of people tried to make sure they keep Caitlin Clark in her place, because what you're doing, if you give her all this shine, you minimize what they done. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else.
Bird doubled down, repeatedly rejecting the idea that Clark's absence was the main reason ratings had dropped, even as the numbers told another story. Fans who had tracked every game knew the truth. Viewership soared when Clark played and fell sharply when she didn't. They could feel the emptiness in the air, the way the energy in the arena faded without her. Yet Bird remained unmoved, unwilling to credit Clark for the excitement she had created. And that refusal only deepened the divide.
Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million.
The controversy swelled, and with it came an uncomfortable realization. Many fans began to see WNBA veterans as disconnected from the league's reality. Those who had fallen in love with women's basketball because of Clark now felt abandoned by the very legends they once admired. Bird, once celebrated as a mentor to younger stars, was now viewed by some as a gatekeeper unwilling to embrace the new era. The looming question was unavoidable. Was the WNBA ready to evolve, or would it cling to the past and risk losing its future?
Don't y'all want a greater profile? Don't y'all want more notoriety? Don't y'all want more hype? I understand that it's going on still without her now that she's out of the playoffs because the games have been great. But the fact of the matter is, she swelled the interest in the sport.
From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, she drew massive crowds. Her social media presence was unmatched, and her ability to connect with fans set her apart from almost every other player in the league. Yet the WNBA seemed hesitant, whether due to politics, envy, or sheer denial, to fully embrace what Clark represented. Instead of amplifying her as the face of the league, they left her to rise on her own, without the full backing of their marketing machine. That choice would prove costly as ratings plunged the instant she exited the playoffs.
Clark effect is definitely real. I mean, we can all see that. However, experiencing it in person is totally different. I was at the Fever in Indiana game last night, and the amount of 22s that I saw on the way to the arena and inside the Capital One Arena might as well have just been a home game for Caitlin Clark. Not Indiana, Caitlin Clark. The thing is, that didn't surprise me. But what did surprise me was how packed the game.
Failing to capitalize on the Caitlin Clark effect, the WNBA lost a golden chance to grow its fan base and cement its place in the sports world. Now, it's left grappling with falling ratings, lukewarm publicity, and a dangerous lack of momentum. Stephen A. Smith remains one of Clark's fiercest defenders, condemning what he sees as blatant attempts to undermine her. He's pointed out how she's been singled out on the court with hard fouls and overlooked when it comes to recognition, arguing that she's been treated differently than other players, both in the spotlight and behind the scenes.
Respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
All right, we gotta go.
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Really appreciate
missed, my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes the first.
The frustration has reached a boiling point. Some of Clark's most loyal supporters are now urging her to walk away from the WNBA entirely and take her talents to the EuroLeague, where they believe she would be respected, celebrated, and given better opportunities. The calls are growing louder by the day, fueled by a belief that the WNBA has revealed its true colors. In Europe, they say, she could thrive without constant targeting and finally be valued for the generational star she is. Whether the league admits it or not, Caitlin Clark's legacy is already shaping the future of women's basketball, and it may be one they can't control.